Morning everyone, and welcome to this week in the cabin. Today, fingers crossed, the rain has stopped, the sun is shining, it's blustery, but it's not freezing cold in here. So, my technical pen arrived. I forgot to bring it up. I thought I put it in my pocket and I haven't. So I will do a little demo with that. It's good. I'm still searching around in hopes of finding my old one, but I think it's gone. I came in this morning and walked straight in, looked at a painting and got some orange cadmium happening down there, just a little touch here and there. And I turned from cabin 1 and looked at my sink painting and thought, oh, the flowers aren't jumping. I'll see if I can get those flowers to jump a bit. So I'm having one of those mornings. I'm jumping about. This is a little work in progress. That I'm really re-engaging with paperwork that can go in a collection of frames. Don't forget to just keep your eye peeled wherever you are for frames. And it dawned on me, the smalls make such lovely gifts. So if you're stuck for gift giving ideas, paint a painting and you have the enjoyment of making the painting and then gifting it. It's a lovely thing. I've had in my mind, I'd quite like to do a metre square painting. And I found, let me grab them. I found a couple of 24 by 24 inch square canvases. So Craig and I might either make a metre square. I've looked online and you can buy metre square canvases. This would be a good warm-up exercise before going to the great big one, which I do want to do. I do still want to do that. And the idea for that came from the last exhibition. A lady actually said, we'll do something bigger, really big. So in my head, really big means really bold and colour, and I have no idea at this point. So that's something really exciting to work into. It's always good to have something to work towards, to have something new in your mind. I'll film using technical pen. I cannot believe my camera has just shut down and I've filmed all this loading of the pen to get to this point. So take 2. So I'll do it all over again. I can't believe that. I poured in. Are we running? It is running. I don't know why. It might be because I dropped the whole thing earlier. I hope it's not going to play up. I wanted to do some card work, but I think I'm getting too mucky. I've got Waterman ink here. Oh God. Why do I get in such a mess? The technical pen has 2 forks which you can widen or bring in together with this little wheel on the side. And basically if you're using ink, you want to just put it in, tap it off, and you get a nice line. I haven't loaded that very well. Because I'm not doing real precision work, I don't mind about a bit of thick and thin, but you need to just practice with it. That's a nice, how lovely is that? So if I open the tines, would you call them tines? You go thicker. I haven't got enough ink in here really. But you get the gist of it. I rather like those. So that's with your ink. bit of gouache, the cobalt blue. My brush is a bit watery, but I can just give that a little bit of water. Right, I'm going to just pull them in a bit. Right, and then you just use your brush to load it. You have to play with it. That might be, well, we'll see. Have a practice paper to hand if you don't want that initial blob. I'm going to put them a bit closer together. This mix might be a bit too wet. So I experimented on the birds here. So if I go in here, I do like it. It is a lovely way of getting a line of paint down. When you want something that looks a little bit more precise, it doesn't matter to me if it's broken, not for this type of work. I think it's a really good tool though to have with you if you're out and about using the gouache. Another kind of mark making. Make sure that when you've finished you clean it or just give it a wash and that you dry it because you don't want them to rust up. Hi everyone. This morning I have decided to go with one of my favourite smalls from the Blue Lagoon collection. I think I said it a couple of times that it might be an idea to try and paint abstract from a piece of my abstracted paperwork. If you've got either a blank canvas or even better when you've got a canvas, I've had a few attempts, I've put a few marks on it, so that can all remain as a nice undercoat. So I'm just going to see if I can push in patches of colour. I've got some black on my plate. So obviously I'm scaling up here as well, so that will be interesting. There's no way it will be an identical replica. It will just be I'm going to loosely reference and just see what might happen. I've never done this before. I've never tried to work a canvas painting up from a paperwork, an abstracted paperwork. I think I'm going to need my shirt. Let's try and find that midnight blue. So that's an indigo. I've got a viewer who said months ago that she loved indigo. And I thought, oh, I've got indigo, but I don't really use it. And she's right, it's absolutely gorgeous. So I've mixed the indigo with the little bit of black that was left on the palette just to deepen it. So there's quite a lot of that. I'm tempted to lighten it a little bit. I'll just go in with white. No, that's too light. Well, there are hints of this all over, so I might just put down some random marks in that blue and take out what is clearly going to be too much. More of the darkness. So it needs to be darker. So in a minute, I'm just I'm just trying to just roughly rough in what I can see up there. And I'm feeling now I want to stand back and just have a look at what does that actually look like. It's so quick to get something happening. I'm trying to be very organised with my paints. Green's in the green bowl. I've got yellows, my blues, it works. And this little selection at the back are where I've embarrassingly doubled up. Craig has this habit of ordering a book that he's already got. I'm not in a position to criticise because I'm repeating paints I've already got, and I should know what I've got and what I haven't. But I like buying paint. He likes buying books. So, right, I'm going to try and establish this colour, which I think is a yellow ochre. It might be Naples yellow. Yeah, it's something of that, but there's some lightness on it. So ideally, because this is now running and making a muddy old colour, ideally what I should do is just let that initial paint dry, but I can't do that because I want to keep going. The colour's bled, the blue, it's gone into a green because of the wet blue. I'm just going to not worry. Let's let it be a green. I can work with that. Okay, stage one. Now I'll let that dry. I've been working a little bit more on my sink. I kept looking at it and thought it's very plain on the right hand side. It felt heavy, it felt lopsided in as much as all the actions over here and nothing here. I might change my mind on these florals this side, and I might tone them down a little bit. The paint on the small, my painting of a painting is still wet. That's the thing with the weather at the moment. It's absolutely pouring here today. This colder weather, the paint does take longer to dry. I'm enjoying that. I like that. I like that already. But it's really nice to have a lead, to have a lead into doing something, because I really didn't have a clue what I wanted that to be, that little canvas. Rocket won't be keen to walk in this wet weather today. On the small painting, I've scratched through a little bit here and I just put in some white there. Raining really heavily now, and I'm going to head back down for lunch. We did manage to get out in between the showers. Morning. Lots of thoughts this morning. I was trying to organise in my mind what I'm enjoying doing at the moment. I'm enjoying doing my little abstract piece. I'm absolutely in love with boats and beach paintings. And last night I went back in to our photograph, so it's easier for you to see. I just went back in and dabbled around. I was messing around with a little thumbnail for a I can't speak this morning, for a landscape. I am still really enjoying and taking myself back to that place in Cadiz, and I do want to do more boats. And I should be doing card work. My favourite painting back in the summer, early summer, down on our trip to Cornwall, was a very lovely semi-abstract boaty painting. And I think what's happened, it's sat in my mind, and I think going to Cadiz, and you don't need to go to Cadiz, but being there and just sketching plein air with the boats it's given me the ideas for my own composition for a boat painting. I'm going to do more watercolour work, watercolours, gouache, acrylic inks in sketchbook, as much as I can. I'm going to do some paperwork, and I'm going to then use, I showed you those squares, I think that's what I'm going to put on my square canvas. That's all the thinking that's in my head at the moment. In amongst all the jumping around, I just thought this morning, just draw breath and think about what would be a good direction. Obviously, in amongst all the other, all my other distractions, I did calm down with the florals on the sink painting. I'll turn the camera and show you a bit. This morning, I'm going to try and get myself to finish this up with, I need to add in a little bit more white. I want more white sort of jumping down there. And I'm umming and ahhing about whether or not to give that a gloss coat. I might do one very light gloss coat just to know that it's sealed. We have in Tunbridge Wells, our Art Society have a general exhibition coming up, and I actually think I'm going to I'm calling this painting Reverie. I'm going to put Reverie in the exhibition and just see what feedback, if I can get any good feedback from it. We do have the opportunity to put work in the browser, and I don't normally do browser work because I normally just like framing things up myself. But I dug out, this one's marked, but I've got some mounts, and I was just messing around trying to find a composition that I might put in the browser this time. So I need to get a move on and make some decisions and get my form filled out. I will do more work on my small this morning. I've put in, I think that's nearly dry. I put in a little bit, few flecks, dots of red. My feeling now with the green is it's dry. Let's try again with the Naples yellow. Naples yellow. With white. Yeah, I think that's better. It's definitely, it needs the tint of Naples yellow. And we kind of had a mark here. Right, so now, hopefully, so now the turquoise that was on the very bottom, with your I'm immediately happier with a bit of that coming through. Right, there's some green in there. I'm going to go with a permanent green light. There's some green up here. I'm trying to just be really loose. It's a bit tricky because obviously when those marks went down, it was very freely done. And now I'm trying to be intentional with it. I want it to have that same looseness about it. Right. I've got a bit of everything on my brush now, just seeing what might work. I'll pause here again. Stage 2. Hi everyone. I think last bit today on this guy, it's inspired me to do probably more, most definitely more of those. Yesterday I got the little bit done I wanted to on the sink. I'll put a picture of that in. And I'll put a picture of it in its frame, ready to go for exhibition. Exhibition dates off the top of my head I can't think, so I'll drop that in as well. I've got limited time this morning, so I want to just crack on a little bit more with this. So I'm really lifting up the yellow, Naples yellow with white, just to really give me that lightness, which makes a more contrast effect. Quite often I find I will how do I say it? There are many layers. Be careful when you're scratching through. You need to get a feel for how much pressure you can apply onto the canvas. The last thing you want to do, and I put a hole in the canvas. So. Okay, I'm wanting to stop now. I think all that's lacking is I've got a lighter, brighter blue, which contrasts nicely with the depth in here. I think I'm just going to let that bubble away on my wall. So I've popped it on the wall, and obviously it will look more with a frame, but it will work. It will sit very near to the Blue Lagoon small series, and I'm really pleased. I'm so glad I had a go at that, and yeah, I'm very inspired and excited to try that again with another one. I think I'm going to stop here now today. I want desperately to have a clear down, and I'm going to do a boat board for next week. I'm going to put some more paint down on this abstracted paperwork so that I can try and find a couple of nice browser pieces. I would say this has been really good. I would recommend taking not necessarily a small abstract work, but any small piece of work, and go up in size. So it's a bit of an incremental, rather than me jumping from this size to this size. I will find it easier to go from this to that, or something a little bit smaller than that. So I'd really recommend having a go. And it doesn't need to be abstract, it can be any small work. A lovely viewer reminded me that this time last year I was doing cards, and I haven't done any cards, and that exhibition is coming round really fast and I need cards. So I will film some card work, probably get the watercolours, gouache, mixed media, get those things going. Have a lovely creative week, everyone, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.